Back on the Marching to Madness College Basketball Zoomcast podcast with my good friend Josh Pastner up in Atlanta, Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets won the ACC tournament title last season. They get back into the NCAA tournament. And here we go, Coach. We got Josh Alvarado with the New Orleans Pelicans. Saw him play a couple of games in Summer League, two-way contract. Just talk about your thoughts as he moves into the NBA, and it's great to see you again.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And right around the corner, we got, season college basketball season starting up. But yeah, we've obviously lost two big pieces in Jose Alvarado, who was ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and just a great player for us here at Georgia Tech. And we also lose Moses Wright, who's the ACC Player of the Year. He played in summer league with the Pelicans, but he's now with the Clippers. He's with the Clippers. So both guys have moved on into their NBA career. It's been interesting to see if both the guys were going to come back because of the NCAA giving the additional COVID year to everybody, but they were ready to pursue their next stage of their career and their professional career. So that being said, we've got a new team in a sense. We still got some guys back. Michael Devoe, who was MVP of the MOP, Most Outstanding Player in the ACC tournament. Jordan Usher is back. Khalid Moore's back, Bubba Parham's back, Kyle Sturdivant and Rodney Howard, who both gotten some minutes later in the year in the rotation. I like our freshmen that we have with our group. We had some freshmen last year who didn't really play a lot, so who'll be there. And then you got a transfer from Mississippi State and Devoe Smith. So look, we lost a lot losing those two guys, as I mentioned, in Jose Alvarado and Moses Wright. But we'll have to figure it out. Myself and our staff are just going to have to try to make it work. And in the end, as it's going to come down to putting the ball in the basket, playing hard defensively, and all those good things that go with that.
Yeah, it's going to be a fluid roster early, probably, and a work in progress as you figure out, I guess your rotations. Of course, Michael Devoe, 15 points per game. He shot the three at 40%. Talk about what roles he might accept now as he's your leading returning scorer, and it's probably going to be a big team leader even more on and off the floor.
Yeah, no, we really need we're going to need Michael Devoe to be really good for us. There's no denying that, and not just with the ball, but also without the ball, and that includes defensively. And part of that's going to be him being, just really, really good for us as a leader because he's been through it. And so, we're going to need him to score because we are losing guys scoring, some of with Alvarado and Moses Wright leaving, we are losing scoring. So he's going to have to score, obviously, but there's a lot of other things he's going to have to be really good for us as well. And part of that's leadership. And because we lost a great leader in Alvarado, and we're going to need guys like Devoe to really step up and to really lead us in a key time.
Well, Jordan Usher is back as well at 11.6 and 50% from the floor. It's kind of the same type of question as what roles will he need to accept as he can play, in the paint outside as well.
Yeah, Jordan Usher is a big key part of for us to be successful this year. We're going to need Jordan Usher to play really well. And, I think for him on his three-point shooting, we need him to be a better three-point shooter, but a lot of that comes down to shot selection. We need him to take good shots. He is a good three-point shooter, and a lot of it is his percentage is high when he is taking good shots. So I think that's going to be an important thing with him. And we also need him to be a better rebounder. So we're on him about that. We need him to be a better rebounder on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, because he's an elite passer. He's just a terrific passer, and he can really, really pass. That being said, the better, and because he's a great passer and because he's a great athlete, because he's unselfish, the better he can be on the defensive glass and to rebound the ball. We don't have to have an exchange on the outlet between him and the guard or between somebody to somebody. He can just rebound and go, and he's athletic enough to be an elite defensive rebounder for us. So that's going to be a big key for us, and I'm excited about him. He's had a good offseason. He's had a good summer, a good fall, and excited for him for this upcoming season.
Sure. And then, I was looking at the guards in the backcourt. You got Bubba Parham back there with the point. And as you mentioned, Davion Smith comes over from Mississippi State. And how much of a competition is that going to be there? And then talk about maybe playing those two guys together. So,
well, what I can tell you is on Bubba, Bubba's helped us win a lot of games, and Bubba's been really good for us. And he just plays hard, does a lot of good things defensively, sticks his nose in there, makes tough, hard-nosed plays, takes charges, and has hit some big shots for us. So we're going to need Bubba to be really good for us. And then regarding Davon's been good to this point, in our practices. He played at Mississippi State last year, but you're looking at a guy like him and a guy like Kyle Sturdivant. Kyle Sturdivant will be his third year in college, second year in this program, who helped us win a lot of games last year. Did a great job for us, really good player. Him and Davon are both point guards, so they can play together. The way the game has evolved, they both can play together, but also, they can be a great pattern where you always, could try to have one on the floor as well too. And then also regarding back to Bubba, he's older. He's the experience factor. That goes a far way. I mean, he's 23 years of age and going to be 24, and he's an older, more, veteran and been through it, been in the ACC for 2 full seasons. So as I've said it many times, getting old and staying old is a big, important thing in trying to win games in this league.
Yeah, and especially as you get down into the tournaments, those guys that have been there, done that, sometimes the reaction is kind of there, where freshmen, not all the time, no matter what star rating they have.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think for people and for fans, I tell them this all the time: don't look at the name on the front of the jersey. Go look at the roster and look at the year they're in school next to their name. Then you can tell how a team is, because the teams that are older, you got a lot, seniors, juniors, and that's going to be a lot for this year, for the mid majors and lower Division I. I mean, there could be upsets all throughout the season, because, and you see it this year in football, where some of the FCS schools are beating the FBS schools because because just teams are older because of the additional year of COVID, people getting an extra year. And I've said it, experience, maturation, student athletes who've been through the grind of everything sometimes have an advantage over younger guys who are just coming in learning the way college is, to adapt to the college game.
Yeah, and 2 freshmen, you have 4-star freshmen, Devoe, Coleman, Miles Kelly. Talk a little bit about them, as they've ingratiated themselves into the program, and what the expectations could be there.
Yeah, I mean, I like our freshman class. We got 4 freshmen. Miles Kelly, who's been good. He's a local kid here. Devoe Coleman from Jacksonville, Florida. He's been good. Kid Jalen Moore from Birmingham, Alabama, who's I think is an under the radar guy, and I'm really excited about him. Jermonte Hill, who is with us, got really good size, another Atlanta prospect, Perk kid, young man. And so I like our group, like our freshmen. They're good. They're only going to get better. They can shoot the ball. They listen. They want to be good. They've really adjusted well to Georgia Tech to this point, and I've been excited about them.
Good. Yeah, Rodney Howard, I know I was curious about how your post may shake out. He played some last year. You're probably looking at pieces there right now.
Well, I think for for that spot for losing Moses Wright, we're going to have to get it done by committee. And you've got Rodney Howard, who did get some time last year, and Saba, our big 7'1" kid, who was a freshman last year, will be a freshman again this year. Really didn't play a lot, but he's gotten a lot better. Kid Jordan Mecca, who was out last year with a back injury, but he's back healthy and he's doing good, doing well, looks good. So a lot of it's going to come down to, I just think, it could be by committee, and just, you're just constantly in a rotation, or until somebody really separates himself. Another kid that was on the team last year that didn't play a lot, Tristan Maxwell, from who was player of the year in North Carolina a year ago, and didn't get a lot of time last year, but he's gotten better. So absolutely, I like where we're at, and we'll just have to keep getting better. We had a really tough schedule. I mean, our schedule's really tough, both non-conference, obviously conference is loaded, but non-conference is really good. So we'll have to play really well in all areas.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that non-conference schedule as you put it together.
I think just like in recruiting, non-conference scheduling, putting a schedule together, it's an inexact science. You do the best you can. You're going to predict. You're going to, try to be futuristic and foresee things and based on your team and the needs that you have as in terms of what you're trying to play for. I mean, everyone wants to win, but how aggressive are you going to schedule and everything else, and who are the opponents? And so all those things go into that when you're coming up with the schedule. That's part of the job, and it's a critical part. Scheduling is just as important, believe it or not, as recruiting.
Really curious to get your take as your course in the ACC there. Will and Scott's building a great program. Roy Williams, though, retires. Coach K this is his last year. Just your thoughts on Roy and Coach K, and it's kind of the end of an era, not only in the ACC but in college basketball, maybe even in sports in general.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, Coach Williams, one of the greatest ever to coach, regardless of sport.
Yeah.
And he retired unexpectedly, and then obviously Coach K, one of the greatest ever to coach, regardless of sport. He's retiring after this season. However, North Carolina and Duke, their recruiting hasn't dropped. In fact, North Carolina's and Duke's recruiting might even be better now. I mean, they're even getting as good of players as Coach Williams and Coach K got.
Yeah.
Coach Davis and Coach Shire are even getting better players. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's going to be a different time period. I mean, when because obviously with Coach Williams and Coach K, kind of the face of the ACC, and with those two after next year not going to be in the league, things just change at times. And but it's always going to be one of the best basketball league in all of college basketball. That is the ACC. And you still got Coach Boeheim, and Coach Leonard Hamilton should be in the Hall of Fame. You got Coach Laradega, who's won over 600 games. You got Coach Bray, who's won over 600 games. I mean, Coach Young. I mean, so there's a lot of veteran guys also in this league.
Last thing, Coach, just curious on your take on the state of college basketball. We're not over COVID-19, obviously, but we played a season through it. Second thing, you go to the transfer portal, you go to name, image, and likeness. What's your take on where we are right now as a sport?
Well, what I would tell you is it's ever evolving. You have to be willing to adapt. You've got to be willing to change. You've got to be willing to be flexible, because if not, you're going to get left behind. And a lot of the things that they've decided is what's best for the student athlete, and that's a real positive thing. And and I think it'll all work itself out with the NIL and also the transfer portal. Things it will work itself out and just kind of be what it is. But this is kind of the evolution of the game. Everyone's just got to adapt to it. In regard to the COVID, obviously last year was unlike any other. I think for this year, we'll be back to as normal as can be. Maybe there's some locations where the states might be a little a little more restrictive on a few things, but overall, I foresee it to be a normal year. Obviously, as things go moving forward, unless there is a change in the COVID protocols, and a lot of that will be based on the CDC, then otherwise I foresee it that it's just going to be a normal year. It's kind of how it's been the previous. I mean, there might be some little things here left over from last year, but it looks like things are moving forward in kind of a normalcy. And you can tell by that by the football games and the stadiums being full and everything. So I foresee it to be sort of normal. And here at Georgia Tech, we're moving forward with as much normalcy as possible.
Coach Josh Pastner back on the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast. He's one of our premier first guests when we started this 5.5 years ago, Coach.
Well, thanks for having me. You look great. You look like you're ready to go to Hawaii with the shirt on. I'm jealous,
I got to get a grass skirt now, and I'll do a really good job out
there. You go. There you go.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I always enjoy it.
Thanks for having me, and stay healthy and stay safe.
Stay safe. That's the key.